It's a bull. Hey, good morning. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got my live Lauderdale by the Sea cam up here. And for those of you familiar with it, you know if you walk down this pier and head towards land, about 2 or 3 blocks, you will hit our store, Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. We're open 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays. Just tell my local peeps that. And it looks like we missed some bad weather this weekend, fortunately, but a couple storms still out there, and we're not through storm season yet, folks. So don't forget, make sure you're prepared. Don't do it last minute, as we sometimes do. Let's take a look at what we're going to talk about today. Sorry about that. And there we go. The proverbial canary in a coal mine. And for most of you folks that aren't familiar with, or some of you folks, I should say, some of you folks that aren't familiar with the term, it's something or someone who, due to sensitivity to his, her, or its surroundings, acts as an indicator and early warning of a possible adverse condition of danger. Refers to the former practice of taking a caged canary into a coal mine. The birds would die if methane gas became present, and thereby alert dangers to, alert the miners to the dangers, and they get out of the mine. Well, I believe that's exactly what we got going on. And actually, I found a golden canary here that just broke out of the cage and said, "Screw this, I'm leaving." And I think that's kind of what we got going on right now. The gold has acted as a canary in a gold mine, and I think that the physical prices, obviously, more than once in the last decade, have separated from paper prices quite a few times in the terms of premiums. And last week's smackdown of paper gold just proved to us once again that it's gold. The reason they would do this is because they don't want gold going up real fast. It's a again, canary in the coal mine. It kind of alerts that there's big problems underlying our economy. And a lot of you that are buying gold and silver and stacking gold and silver, you can't assume that you're the norm. You are not the norm. We are not the norm. Probably in many ways we're not the norm, but we are not the norm out there. Very few Americans own gold and silver. However, more and more are starting to get turned on to it and learn about it. And one of the biggest surprising things to me in 2020 during the closures and everything, we stayed open here in the store. I didn't close or at all. I stayed open the whole time, serviced my customers. But I noticed a huge influx of customers in their early 20s, 20s to early 30s, but mostly the early 20s. I was early and mid 20s, I should say. I was really surprised at the number of black and white kids and all different types of people that were coming in buying gold and silver. And the younger generation, these younger kids, and again, primarily I noticed with the black community, the younger kids were coming in, and they were very attuned to what real money is. And I'm not saying that surprises me because of the community. It just surprised me because of the age. Very seldom do you see young kids understand what money is and understand the loss of the buying power of the dollar. And you wouldn't believe at how many young folks that I had come in during 2020 again that were maybe they had a lot of time to sit at home and start to read and learn what their money is about. But a lot of these kids in their 20s, early and mid 20s, know more about money and know more about the fiat system than their parents and their grandparents combined do or did or even cared. I was just amazed and pleasantly amazed too, because it's so nice to see a younger generation come in here. And again, all different types of people come in and all different walks of life. I enjoyed seeing that, and it was a pleasant surprise for me. A story I don't talk about very much, but in all the years I've been in business, it's the most young folks I've ever seen walk in and talk about money and talk about the fiat dollar and talk about the loss of buying power. So this is a canary in a coal mine. When you start seeing the generation that was more into video games and more into having fun and enjoying their lives, and they didn't really have to pay attention to the economics, but they are now, that's for darn sure. And that's a big canary in the coal mine. And gold is a canary in the coal mine, because when people start to pile into gold, and they haven't yet, you'd be surprised at how little people out there, how very few people, your neighbors, the people that you work with, how very few of them actually own physical gold. And you want to do a test on your own, go and ask them, do you own one 1-ounce gold or silver bars? Do you own bullion bars? Some may say they had some in a drawer, their father left them some, but seriously, ask the people around you. You're going to be quite surprised that we are not the norm when it comes to precious metals. However, the sentiment is growing, and we're starting to see more and more people get into gold and silver and get out of the dollar, and that's what governments and central banks fear, and that's why we're having the huge monkey hammering that we've had, and last week's monkey hammering with not even trying to hide it in your face. I think the canary is actually escaped the coal mine in this case right here, and let's move along to spots here, give you my assessment after that. Let's just talk about what happened over the weekend. Not too much. No monkey hammering last night, which, if there was any monkey hammering to be done when you wake up and you see low price, or wake up, or whenever you see super low prices on Monday, it was usually done the evening before, and very limited trading markets that are very small and that they can easily manipulate. That's usually when it's done. So by the time you wake up in the morning, the damage has mostly been done. But it didn't happen last night. And as I said earlier, I think they're kind of running out of ammo here. Not running out of ammo. Never underestimate central banks. Never underestimate the government. They can print it, so I guess they can't really run out of ammo. But I don't know how many of those takedowns they can do and get away with it. If they were doing them back to back to back, I think they just come in and they attack the market every once in a while. And I believe we're going to see another hit on precious metals. It'll be right when Powell starts to speak. They're already talking about raising rates right now, 2 months from now or 3 months from now. That's kind of the specter we're seeing in the news at the moment. And again, when Powell comes out to speak either the day before, the day after, the day of, you will see the monkey hammering precious metals again. It's just going to happen. And it'll be on a Friday. Well, tough to say. If he speaks on a Wednesday, they could do it on any day. But if it's done before Powell speaks, it'll be done on a Sunday night or Monday morning. If it happens during the time, when he speaks, he's going to have to say something pretty heavy for that to happen. But or it'll happen the Friday after. That's my assessment of it. So if you're waiting to buy a dip, that's a possible dip that we'll see coming up here. And again, these just provide great opportunities to buy the dips when they lower the prices like this, when they monkey hammering numbers. Overnight, 1771, 1783. Currently, we're making our way back to that 1800. And as I said, folks, don't be surprised if they monkey hammer it again. There's something really deep going on. And again, gold is a canary in the coal mine. I just feel it. I just feel that gold is telling us something, especially the way they recently monkey hammered. They just don't normally do it that way. And again, it was so in our faces. It was so, man, they didn't even close the door behind them, which is, actually I stole that from an article I just read, which I thought was a great phrase to use. But they didn't even close the door behind them when they left this time. They left it so obvious that it was monkey hammered. And that tells me that there's something desperate. There's something crazy going on. And again, what is that? That's a canary in the gold mine. So we're in the coal mine. I keep saying gold mine. Well, I guess you can have canaries in gold mines too. So silver, same thing, 23.46, high at 23.80, and currently sitting at that 23.57 mark. Let me close that right there. I just cleaned out my computer. 23.57 currently, and platinum above that $1,000 mark, 1,007, 1,032. Platinum to me is a steal. Silver is a steal. Gold is a great deal. I think all these metals, as I said, you're going to look back at $2,000 gold. I know it's $1,700 now. You're saying, why is he saying $2,000? Because you're going to look back at $2,000 gold one day and say, wow, that was cheap. You're not going to think about 1775. You're going to think of those even numbers. We talked about that. Psychological numbers. 2,000 is the psychological number right now. For silver, I think psychological number probably is 30, even though that's, I think we're underestimating it. I think we're not giving silver enough due. Really, to me, the number is 50. The psychological number is 50. I mean, we've been through the 30s. We've been through the 40s. We've been through all that stuff. So that's not a psychological number, in my opinion. The psychological number is your last high that you achieved. And our last highs were around $50. So, to me, everything under $50 silver is cheap, and everything is, we're going to look back at it and say, God, you remember when silver was under $50? I'm pretty certain of that. And same thing with platinum. I think platinum one day is going to be up there with the palladium group there, close to that 2,000 level. And I'm surprised it's not on par or close to the price of gold. However, platinum is a whole different market to itself, and it's run by the platinum mobsters, which are the cartel, the platinum cartel, which is South Africans, Russians, and Canadians. There's your crooked cartel that runs the platinum market right there. Although I can't tell you much about how platinum trades and when and how they monkey hammer it, but they do, trust me. Well, let's move out of markets, kind of sideways. Great buying opportunity, folks. And the premiums aren't too high. Let's look into a couple articles here I saw. Wall Street Journal proves it doesn't understand gold. Well, we know that. Remember, if you've been watching my show, I started out doing this show using the Wall Street Journal, talking about their articles and stuff. However, there's no depth to Wall Street Journal. There's no depth to corporate media. Basically, they're just mouthpieces for whatever, whoever gives them their paycheck, more or less. They're mouthpieces. They have a little creative leeway, but not much. They're mouthpieces for whoever gives them their checks. Wall Street Journal, especially, I was telling that little story, and I was talking to a friend about it last night. How the media, how I know in my particular industry that the corporate media is really screwed up because, Wall Street Journal, I've read them for years. I never read their commodity page. I saw some of their experts. I always said, I don't know who this person is. One day, they had a new commodity expert on gold, on precious metals in the Wall Street Journal, and I look and I recognize the name, and lo and behold, it's someone that has a fraction of the experience I do in this market, and they don't know shit from Shinola, and the Wall Street Journal was quoting them as experts in gold. I was taken aback by that quite a bit, and I started to realize, maybe all their other experts in gold, because it was pretty obvious they had no freaking clue what they're talking about when it comes to precious metals, Wall Street Journal. Neither does Bloomberg or CNBC. And as I pointed out last week in last week's show about that J.C. Parrott guy or whoever he is, neither does Yahoo News. And they get these people that call themselves experts in precious metals, most time to spin the narrative they want you to spin, that there is no shortage of silver, there's no shortage of gold, or that gold is overpriced, or that that's how they work it typically. Again, they're directed to go out and do an article like that most times. So Wall Street Journal just, in my opinion, sucks. So does all this corporate. If you listen to any of these corporate publications when it comes to precious metals, you will go broke. You will not make any money. Do not read them. Do not look at them. They're trash. That's my opinion. Author John Rubino via dollar collapse. I guess he just figured this out. Maybe he didn't. He's probably, I shouldn't say he just figured this out. Gold bugs should never assume that mainstream investing community actually understands finance. This is true. That includes Wall Street Journal, which recently published an article, Gold as an Inflation Hedge, What the Past 50 Years Teaches Us. I won't even read it. I'm not even going to click this link because, again, it's garbage. Anything that corporate media talks about when it comes to precious metals, I can tell you, firsthand experience, they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. It's garbage. So I'm not even going to click this article, and I know exactly what John Rubino was talking about because I've seen it all the time. This is my industry. You're not going to spin bullshit over me, but they do over the public. Remember, a vast majority of the public will read the Wall Street Journal and think, oh, the Wall Street Journal said this. Oh, gold's not a good inflation. Gold's this or that. Oh, they quoted this expert. Let me tell you, they're not fucking experts, and they have no clue what they're talking about. Again, I don't know how many times I need to say that, but I'm getting my point across. Its conclusion, Wall Street Journal made a conclusion pretty much that everything has gone up since the U.S. left the gold standard in 71, and the things that went up. Most stocks are, by definition, the best inflation hedges, while bonds are about as good as gold. So what's wrong with this argument? Simply put, gold is not an investment, it's money. So, and again, probably a really good article if you want to hammer home that point that I've been making about how awful corporate media is when it comes to precious metals. Good article here written by authored by John Rubino via dollar collapse. Wall Street Journal proves that it doesn't understand gold. It's on ZH, and you can read it for free. I recommend you do. Again, if you missed my show or you're kind of a new viewer to or a new watcher with us, definitely read that article because it's a topic I've talked about so many times. Why big government status despise gold, and this is done by, I didn't even read it, M.N. Gordon via economicprison.com. And let's kind of go into this. Did you get a 5.4% raise this year? If you answered no, then your income is systematically diminished by the federal government's coordinated policies of dollar debasement. I kind of see where this article, and again, I just clicked it. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, folks. Forgive me. I just clicked it because it had the word gold. But it kind of looks interesting. Again, it's talking about something that we've spoke about many times before. Is that if you're making if you made 20% in your stocks and bonds over the course of 10 years or 5 years or whatever it may be, with the cost of living, or say for example your net wealth doubles in 10 years. Well, if the cost of living is 2% plus per year, what does that really mean? How much less did you make? And that's the issue we got. And it's not so much the cost of living, it's the dollar debasement. And that's exactly what happens to fiat currencies. Now, they love to call it inflation. Governments love to call it inflation. Keynesian economic people love to call it inflation. But really what it is, it's dollar deflation. It's the deflation of the fiat currency. It buys less and less and less because they create more and more and more of it. That's simply it in a nutshell. Good article by Government Status Despise Gold. And let me see if there's any key here. Oh, they usually highlight some things that are worth reading. Let's take a look at this. If you hold physical gold and silver as a form of wealth insurance, which you should, interestingly enough, we talk about that all the time, that gold is about wealth, what? Wealth preservation. And they call it wealth insurance here, which you should. Don't pay attention to the ups and downs of gold price movements. Wow, well, a great little paragraph here. With the outright reckless abandon of the spendthrift politicians in Congress, gold price in dollar terms is guaranteed to rise over the next decade, and you can count on it. Gold will ultimately shine, not because of its luster, but rather out of necessity. And gold's been around, as I told you about, for 5,000 years, folks. It's outlived corporations, it's outlived empires, it's outlived everything pretty much. It's a form of money. It's a form of wealth preservation. It's never gone away. You could go to jungles in Central America. You could go to the North Pole. I'm just trying to think of vast different places, and you could take some gold with you and they would still understand it. The indigenous people there, even if they didn't understand English, would understand that shiny gold object. It's been around forever, folks. And don't you forget it, and don't let corporate media tell you otherwise, because really, again, as I've said many times, they're morons when it comes to precious metals, which makes me question the other things they talk about. But again, I'm not an expert to say they're morons in that either, so tough to say. Nixon's gold treachery made me a cynic. I'm not going to read this one either, but I wanted to point out a few good articles on ZH that you're going to have to go looking for. And again, this talks about, in August 15, 1971, President Nixon announced that the U.S. government would cease honoring its pledge to pay gold to redeem the dollars held by foreign central banks. And we've done a couple videos on this as well, and the reason for that is because we were reneging on the Bretton Woods Agreement, and countries are starting to notice that, and France wanted back its gold. They said, give us this gold back, man. We know you guys are going to just blow it all. And that's really a simplification of the whole thing, but more or less that's what happened. Another good article to read by James Grover, the American Institute for Economic Research. And I know it's all on Zero Hedge, folks. And ZH, you got to take it for what it's worth. But what I like about ZH is that they give you different viewpoints, different writers. And unlike the corporate news, you don't get that single viewpoint narrative and some dummy quoted as an expert that you really don't know if he's an expert or not. I like going out and reading different things, and that's the nice thing about ZH and hubs like this. I call this a hub. I don't call it a news site or anything. It's really not a news site. I just call it a hub. There's all kinds of different articles on here, and let's take a look at that and why I do call it a hub. They're not all written by the owner or the guy that started this site, Tyler Durden, who's got a little controversy behind him, but I don't think it's controversy. I just think they don't like what the media, corporate media, does not like this guy at all, because he's taken a lot of business from him, and he's not spouting, he posts different opinions, not his, opinions from other bloggers, opinions from other writers. Let's take a look, and you'll kind of get a feel for what I'm talking about. And most of you already read this anyway, so... and you'll catch flack if you tell someone you read Zero Hedge. Certain people, especially pinkos, I shouldn't say, but that was my dad's term when I grew up. That's what he called them. Especially pinkos will not like ZH at all, and they'll call you out for reading it because, again, it's not the mainstream corporate narrative. Fed weighs ending taper by mid-2022. This is what I talked about. This is in Wall Street Journal. And this is jawboning. Remember we talked about, I did a video called jawboning last week, and that's exactly what we go. Jawboning the markets. That's what Powell's doing. He's jawboning gold and those kind of things down, safety assets like gold that have been around forever, and he's jawboning stocks, bonds, and whatever markets that make them the most money. That's exactly what Powell's doing. But Powell is also the captain of the Titanic right now, and so have all the federal chair people for the last couple decades. I think they've just been balancing and juggling what is a sinking ship. Well, you can't balance and juggle a sinking. I think they've been patching and band-aiding what has been a sinking ship, especially since 2008. They've fixed nothing at all. All they've done is taken the big gapping holes in the ship and put band-aids on them. And at some point, it's all going to blow up again, folks. It's going to be nasty, too, unfortunately. But I don't know what it's going to look like, but we'll see. We're going to see. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And utter desperation. This is just plain sad right here. That's just awful. We should have never been there to begin with, but the way we pulled out, didn't we ever learn our lessons? What the fuck, man? Didn't we learn our lessons from Vietnam? I'm sorry, but you don't. If you're going to go in someplace, we left people there, man. We left people that supported us, people that washed the clothes, worked on these air bases. We left them there to die. Unbelievable. We did it again. My God. So I'm going to move along here because I'm sure most of you, I don't care what flavor of politics you are pretty pissed about that as well. Never should have been there. This is both a red and blue thing. Neither party should have ever been there. We should have pulled out long ago, and we should have done a better job of either going in or pulling out or both. Again, I'm not a political show, but that just pisses me off. When the penny drops, it'll be you and your portfolio on that Kabul tarmac. I like the analogy there. That's kind of true because when the shit hits the fan, like I just said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The elite are going to be taken off in that plane that you saw all the U.S. soldiers and all the U.S. people take off in Kabul. And we'll be hanging on to the wheels trying to get onto that plane. A lot of us will. Some of us will be on that plane before it even happens. That's why you own gold, silver, and precious metals. You get on that plane now, folks. You have some kind of wealth preservation. You don't get stuck in their fiat dollar and their bullshit paper markets and their bullshit Wall Street casino. Again, that's my opinion. Futures fall on poor China economy ahead of the Powell town hall. So these again. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, someone said, well, if someone went to the Fed and says, oh, you guys, every time you talk, you can move markets, so why don't you go out and say something? The Fed might have said, well, that's not our job, or blah, 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 even though they did. But now they're so blatant. They just come out and they purposely move markets just by spinning bullshit. They jawbone it, and that's exactly what Powell's in, jawbone mode. And you know what? I think most people are sick of jawboning, and I think a lot of people are starting to understand exactly it is what it is. It's jawboning. There's no strength in this market, and they never fix the Titanic. They just put more band-aids on it. Tesla shares sink after investigation autopilots. I like Elon Musk. I think he's a brilliant guy, and I think that he brought electric vehicles to the forefront, even though they may not be the best and other companies may take over. I like him for his innovation and his marketing. He's like the circus huckster there too for the company as well. Nothing wrong with that. However, he did get himself in a position where he's kind of spun some bullshit, as far as autopilot goes and all that stuff, and when it would be self-driving. Also, going out there and jawboning. He's jawboning his company. Speaking of jawboning, that's what Elon Musk does. He jawbones his company. But can you put Elon Musk on trial with these again? NSA, they're no different. NHTSA, another worthless regulatory commission that is just simply, again, useless. Just like the regulatory commissions in precious metals markets, they're useless. And what they've done is, Elon Musk has probably embarrassed them, so they're going to go after him. Or the big, or government officials said, you got to go after this guy. He's not supposed to jawbone markets. Only we can do that. That's probably what the deal is. Good on the Texas governor. I'm sure a lot of Texans are going to be very pleased about that. We've been mask-free in Florida for over a year, and we haven't seen any upticks. Supposedly, they said there was upticks, but they had to readjust that data because they made a mistake, of course. But everything's fine down here, and we need to get back to business, folks, and start living again. Why big government status? We read that article. Not too much to talk about here. I can go into a complete political rant, and I don't want to. Maybe I'll do a political show one day. Who knows? Let's look at gata.org, what it says over the weekend. Don't want to do too many ums today. Those gold smashes aren't the bullion banks doing, but governments. And this is done by, who is this? Let's see. Dispatch continues below. And read more. Well, we know they're not bullion banks. They're central bank interventions, and that's more than likely what it is. Gata.org makes an excellent case about that. Ted Butler, too, good little article down here. In the space of 2 trading days, the world of gold and silver prices was turned on its head. On Friday and Monday, silver plunged to its lowest level in 2021. Again, good buying opportunity if you could buy the dips, but likely you couldn't because it happened in the middle of the night when no one could buy dips, really. At least you couldn't buy physical. Gold touched its low for the year, and silver gold price rose to its most undervalued level for silver of the year, which is a great buy, folks. Keep buying those bars. Not that anyone needs reminding, but let me first run through the bad. Ted Butler, one of my favorite writers that talks about manipulation. I think we talked about this article last week. I don't know, but I definitely highly recommend that you read it. Gata.org is a free site if you're new to my videos as well. Definitely take a read on that. And GATA Chairman Mon-Fri rages at constant tax on monetary metals, and rightfully he should. He is the chairman for this particular website and organization right here, and they've been talking about gold and silver manipulation for years. If you are a gold and silver stacker, you need to have this on your bookmark bar up here. Otherwise, you really don't know who the players are, who the casino is, and how they cheat. You need to know this. And again, when markets get monkey hammered like they did, and you hear my voice the day after, I'm calm, cool, and collect. You know why? Because I know what they're doing, and I know exactly where the end game is, and it's not going to be in their favor. It'll be in my favor because I know how they're rigging the game, and so do you. Now you do. Well, let's move along to just I'll kind of show you Friday's video here, and I told you so. I didn't mean to be condescending or anything like that, but I've talked about this stuff, this monkey hammering. I've told you not to worry about it when it's monkey hammered. It's just an opportunity to buy the dip. Do not sell into it, and it'll be back up, and that's exactly what we got going on again. Until Powell starts jawboning, I think we're going to see some clear-cut monkey hammering again coming up soon. But again, opportunity to buy the dips. It won't stay there long, folks. And one thing I talked about too is do yourself a favor with your best friends, and you're sitting around, encourage your friends to buy gold. Remember I was telling you earlier that Americans don't own enough gold, that we're a very small group of people. We assume that all our people, friends and neighbors own precious metals, but they don't. And again, don't paint it to them like, oh, you should get into cryptos, it's the new hottest thing. When you talk to your friends and family about precious metals and people you know out there and people you care about, talk to them about wealth preservation, not about getting rich quick. About emergencies and wealth preservation. There's a lot of good things you can use. The loss of internet, the loss of electricity, the failure of the bank, the failure of the people that own your stock and bond portfolio, your 401k, the people who hold that go belly up. Your 401k goes belly up. What do you own physically? That's the pitch that you need to make, and you need to make it about wealth preservation, not about getting rich quick. If someone wants to get rich quick, go to casino or play the crypto markets. That's my opinion. And you can lose big too, just as fast. There's your ums. Let's see here, man. Lots of lots of comments out there. Silvertard says, can you give a shout out to Lorenzo? You watch? Hey, Lorenzo. Okay, there's a shout out for you. I'd like to thank everybody that watches here. And again, folks, if I don't mention you, I don't read your comment, I do apologize. These shows do get a little longer. What I've been trying to do is look in comments for questions that are related to the show or related to what we've been talking about, or maybe not related. I'm looking for some interesting questions, and every question is interesting here, so don't get me wrong on that. Don't want to stick my foot in my mouth. Joey says 23 is tempting, but I'm stacking cash for 22 and underpriced. That's coming. It's possible, Joey, but I don't know if it's going to stay there that long. And my concern is the premiums are so cheap right now that, if you see a bigger smash, what happens if the premiums on precious metals go up another buck? All of a sudden 1 ounce rounds are costing you $1 more. That's the downside potential of that. Right now, premiums are really cheap. It's a good time to stack. But you could be right. It could hit 22 or less. Powell's going to jawbone this, and let's see where it takes us. But it won't stay there long, and it'll happen overnight markets more than likely. And let's move along here. Here, like Ted Butler recently wrote, the aliens came and saw the blatancy of the fraud and flew off again into outer space, never to return. I don't know what the context of that particular line is, but it's kind of cool, which is true. It's like our canary in the coal mine at the beginning of the show. Flew off. The alien saw what was happening. The canary saw what was happening and flew off. Boy, that's coincidental. It's almost similar to the canary in the coal mine meme I have here. Well, let me see. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Tree Climber, D-Man, all you folks. Old Cowboy, D-Follow, Brand. And let's move up here. I'm still looking for Ashley. You're absolutely right. But they do make the rules, Ashley. But you just got to know. It's like the casino makes the rules. And as long as you know how they rig the game, man, you could be a winner. And that's exactly what we're learning how to do here. Thanks for watching, Guy. I appreciate it as well. Donald says they must accumulate physical and cheaply comply with the Basel third replacement of unallocated. With real physical metals, it's a tier 1 asset. Yeah, there's so much going on there, Donald. It's very deep, probably even deeper than that to some degree. But you got to wonder, with all that unallocated paper gold, is some of that been promised to people as physical? Do the central banks trying to get that leased gold back that they leased out? Is there a shortage of physical gold available? Again, that they're trying to swap out these paper derivatives for real gold. Tough to say. There's so many factors. You got different people out there saying different things, but I kind of tend to agree with Ted Butler and GATA.org. It's definitely monkey hammered. It's definitely rigged, and it's a large entity, likely government. Let's move over here into best deals. Best deals of the day are still going to be any silver products you don't pay more than the spot plus $4. I know that Canadian maple leafs, I have them here cheaper than anyone else, or more than $4 over if you want them. However, there's a lot of good products here that I can sell you for less than $4, spot plus $4 or less. We can even probably get it down to a couple bucks over spot for certain products. Come on by and see me, and I'll tell you what the best deals are, definitely for silver, as you know, and gold. As you know, I advertise to beat for my local customers, as I don't ship out and I don't do online sales. So any of you folks watching that don't live in my area, you need to find yourself a good local dealer, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But we have product for spot, less than spot plus 4, and even cheaper. Hang on one second. 4, what am I saying? $3.75 or less per ounce on 999 products. And again, we have some products even cheaper. Come in, we'll take care of you on that. As far as gold goes, we have product on hand that's under $100. The stuff that we recommend is under $80 per ounce, and that would be gold bars and stuff. But any good product that you can buy for under $100 an ounce premium on gold, I think you're doing okay. Get it close to that $80 mark, and you can buy yourself an extra ounce of silver with it. Well, that's really about it. Why do I tell you to buy local? Grow your community. Buy local. A couple reasons. First is that at some point, even if you're buying online, you're going to need to sell this stuff to somebody, because you're not going to want to put it in the mail and risk having it stolen, or risk having it get lost, or risk the timing to be off for the market when you get there. You want someone that you can walk in and physically sell that stuff. It's going to be real important for you. So you need to establish a relationship with a dealer somewhere in your city, county, or even if you have to drive in the state to do it, you need to do that at some point. You also may find good buying opportunities there as well. I advertise locally myself to be at MexJM and SD Bullion, all big companies, and I think they're all okay. I don't see any of them going out of business, so as far as I know, they're fine, but I advertise to beat their prices on the type of products that I have, and I can give better advice, and I can also give better advice on products as well, and give you a better deal than those big companies. But I only deal locally. Again, I encourage anyone listening to the show, find a good local dealer. It's very important for a couple reasons. Again, you're going to have to sell the stuff, and the other thing, keep that money local, man. When people spend money with me, I go to the local tackle shop. I'm a fisherman. I go to the local surfing shops. I go to the local grocery stores. I go to restaurants. I spend my money around town. You ship your money out of town, it's gone. It's gone for good, folks. Keep that money in town if you possibly can. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime between 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays. Happy to help you out with whatever you may need or questions you have. Hey, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.